Deltic was moved to the siding, and Alan attached to the train. Gronk hooted to him as he left the junction. Alan, unsure of his feelings, did not reply as he pulled the heavy train away. It was early next morning when Deltic was moved by Gronk out of the yard. "Good riddance," Sir Alf snorted. Gronk moved the heavy diesel out of the yard and onto the main line, where a distinctly work-stained green diesel waited for them. "I'm sorry." Gronk was taken aback, but kept moving. "It's my fault." The lights flickered on and off. Clearly Deltic was not completely finished. "It's all my fault. You're a good diesel. Please forgive me." "Forgive you for what?" Gronk asked, but the lights were out, and the Deltic said no more. The green diesel honked at Gronk as they left the junction. "So, Gronk," Sir Alf said, "why did you move Nigel to the out-of-use line?" Gronk stayed silent. He didn't know how to respond. "What did I ever do to you?" Nigel asked Gronk angrily. Gronk looked away, sadly. "The foreman asked me to move you there," he said finally. "I didn't know it was for scrap." "There, you see, it wasn't for scrap," Alan said, but no one paid him any attention. "So you admit your crime," Sir Alf said. "What say you, engines? What should we do with him?" The tank engines all began shouting at once. "Throw him out the shed!" Geoffrey bellowed from his siding. Gronk stayed quiet, a silent tear forming in his eye. "Come now, Sir Alf," Alan said. "He was ordered to move Nigel." "Aye," Nigel said thoughtfully. "I wonder if I would have done the same." Sir Alf paused. Then, "I suppose we all would have done," he said, surprising all of the engines. "I would never advocate disobeying the orders of the company," he added. "And your ignorance of the end result is also a factor." "Rubbish!" the J-50 tank engine wheezed. "Kick him out and be done with it. We don't want no stinking diesels here." The other tank engines began their chorus of shouts and boos again. "Stop that noise! Just what is going on?" Stephen the Holden B12 emerged from the darkness and backed down next to the other engines, looking very cross. "I go away for a few weeks and the whole yard goes mad," he said. "What is going on?" The engines all tried to talk at once, some whistling loudly to get themselves heard. "Enough!" Stephen bellowed. The other engines were taken aback. They had never seen Stephen cross before. "Alan, you tell me what's going on." And so Alan explained the situation to Stephen. "So you see, Gronk wasn't to know." "I see." Stephen looked at the tank engines. "Is this how you really feel?" The tank engines muttered quietly, a lot more subdued now their elder was present. "That is how we feel," Geoffrey said obstinately. Stephen sighed. "Gronk, I'm sorry, but you must leave Copley Hill." Alan was shocked. "Stephen, what are you—" "You will not go far," Stephen continued. "You can shunt at Leeds Central for all of us and call it your home from now on." The single tear slid down Gronk's face to the end of his nose. "Go now," Stephen said gently. "I shall come and see you later on." Gronk trundled sadly out of Copley Hill, away from the sneering tank engines, and away from the home he loved so much. "As for all of you," Stephen said, looking round at the steam engines, "you have disgraced our heritage. The end of our working lives approaches," he added, looking with disdain at Geoffrey and the other tank engines. "Some closer than others. The end of our time is coming, and every one of us shall pay for our arrogance in believing that our way of life would last forever." "Stephen," Alan said softly, "whatever do you mean?" "I mean that I know our collective end is coming," Stephen said harshly. "I know because I have seen it at work. I am the last of my kind, and soon to be extinct myself. There is no hope of reprieve. The preserved engines list has been published and," he said, blowing off steam as he departed, "if there is no room on the preserved engines list for an engine like Flying Scotsman, then what hope for any of us?" The silence was deafening in the yard of Copley Hill, Leeds, as the lone Holden B12 left the yellow yard lamps and the shot steam engines for the darkness of the deserted junction. The modernisation plan, that scheme so talked about and dismissed by all of them, was in full swing. The end was coming for them.